Welcome everybody to the Equalex's Facebook Live today, and I would like to warmly welcome Alex Paul. How are you, Alex?
I'm good, thanks, Bridget. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Today we are focusing on you, your divorce, and your insurance. So, Alex, tell us a bit about what you do.
So I am a senior insurance advisor. I have worked in the insurance industry now for 13 years, and my main focus is helping my clients, ensuring that they've got the correct insurances in place, whether it's their life or income or medical, and really looking after them and ensuring that they are at the forefront of my mind always and helping them every step of the way.
So why would I need insurance if I'm divorced?
Really, everybody needs insurance, but when you're divorced, you're at that very vulnerable point in your life where you're potentially on your own if you've got kids as well. And if there's debt there too, you really need to ensure that you are properly protected financially to ensure that if something happens to you, your legacy and your ability to earn an income, which we as insurance advisors say is your biggest asset, is protected. And without that financial stability there, who knows what happens? You're relying on the state, you're potentially relying on family who sometimes that's not always the best way. And having insurance gives you that financial independence.
Do you find that a lot of people actually regret not having insurance after they've had some major incident happen in their life?
A lot of people, we see it all the time. A lot of people, there's that sudden thought of, oh my God, I wish I'd had some insurance in place. I wish I didn't have to resort to going and doing a give a little page, which we see quite a lot at the moment. People doing these give a little pages when they've had a major event in their life where they just haven't thought about having insurance or thought it was too expensive and not really investigated the process properly.
Yeah, interesting. So how does someone untangle their insurances from being in a relationship because they're now separating, divorcing, to being a single person?
Yeah, so this is something I've done a bit of recently. So the first step is always to talk to your advisor. You can go directly to the insurer, but your advisor knows the process and is there to help you and ensure it's done properly. And your advisor also is completely independent. So your insurance advisor can deal with both parties, but obviously not talk about their interactions with the other party. So it's about ensuring that your advisor is independent and can have those conversations. There are forms that need to be completed, and that's where having an insurance advisor is really important, because we take that hassle away from you without you having to go to the insurance company directly and have the same conversation again and again. So we would facilitate getting those documents drawn up. Sometimes we go to each person's house and get them signed. Generally, we send it by email. That's the easiest way. But we're there to ensure that you're not actually having to, if it's acrimonious, that you're not having to have that conversation with your ex.
Yeah. So for people that have children, why do they need to be insured?
The children, look, when children are young, I've got insurance for mine. I've got 2 young ones. They've had insurance all their lives. When they're young and they're healthy, having insurance is just so important. As we get older, unfortunately, we know we get things come up, we get pre-existing conditions, and getting insurance when you're older is so much harder. When your kids are young, they're able to get cover in place that will ensure that it can grow with them throughout their life stages, and you can make claims and not have to rely on the state or waiting lists. I've seen it. I've had a client of mine, we had trauma cover for her. So trauma cover pays out when you get diagnosed with a disability, with a cancer or a stroke or a heart attack. Her son had a massive asthma attack and unfortunately passed away. And her trauma cover actually paid for his funeral and a lot of other expenses that just wouldn't have been covered otherwise.
Well, my own experience. So my daughter got a random virus and nearly died and had to have a heart transplant. And the insurance company paid out $50,000.
Yep. And it gives you that, especially when you're, if you're going through a divorce and you're in a very difficult time in your life, if something like that were to happen to your child, your first instinct is to be with your child. So having that financial backing, with that $50,000 for you, Bridget, would have been perfect. It would have allowed you to be with your daughter.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there was no way that I could focus on working.
Yep.
It just didn't happen.
Yeah. So, and that's what insurance is there to do.
So, tell us your 5 top tips around insurance in general.
So my 5 top tips are really about keeping it simple. Understand what you're going to have in place with your insurances. Speak to an advisor. Honestly, don't go direct. Some of the horror stories I hear about with a lot of my clients are clients that have gone direct to a general insurer or to a bank, and they've come out 2 hours later and they're more confused than they were when they went in. Understand what your insurance advisor is implementing for you. Really, ask questions. There is no such thing as a stupid question when you're putting in place insurance. And the more questions you ask, the better you understand what they're doing for you. And my last one would be, make sure you review it regularly. Really, really sit down with your advisor and review those policies.
On a yearly basis?
Yeah, on a yearly basis. No, that's fine. Some people, prefer to do it every 2 years, but your situations change. We buy new houses, we have children, we have salary increases. Those are all the things that really, they affect your insurance risk profile. So that is really important. And those would be my top 5 tips if I could offer anyone some advice.
Fantastic. So why do people need income protection, for example?
Yep. So as insurance advisors, we talk about what's your greatest asset. And funnily enough, most people, when I ask them that question, they always say, oh, my house. My house is my greatest asset. But if your house burns down, you can always rebuild that house. But if something happens to you, how can you can't always rebuild that. Another story is a client of mine I've currently got. He's 38. He's a tattoo artist. He's just been diagnosed with his second lot of stage 4 bowel cancer. Chemotherapy has affected his hands. So as a tattoo artist, his hands are everything. They really are. That's his livelihood. But because of the chemo affecting them, he can't work. And he's got his income protection. He's got 2 kids. He's got a mortgage. He's married. He needs to have an income. And that is where his income protection has really saved his life. It's meant that his family can continue living in a way that they were previously when he was working. Yeah. You just don't know. You don't know what's around the corner.
No, you don't. And you want to ensure that you've got all bases covered in terms of your insurance before it's too late.
Yeah.
So tell me, how can people find out about you?
So you can either go onto the Findex website and have a look for me. So I would be under Alexandra Paul, or LinkedIn under Alex Paul as well. Or I can give out my email address and contact details to you, Bridget. And if people have questions, they can get in touch. And I'm more than happy to help, even if it's just an initial conversation and it goes no further. If people just want a little bit of advice, more than happy to do that. But yeah, it's about knowing that you can really trust that person, and that person's got your best interest at heart when it comes to your insurances.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, Alex. It's been some fantastic insights into why it's really important. We know it's expensive. It can be expensive, but in the long run and even in the short term, it can be one of the best investments that you can make in terms of your family.
Yeah, that investment is well worth it. Sometimes we never claim. We do have clients who never claim, but we have the clients that do claim a lot. And just the relief that they have knowing that they have someone to talk to, and they've got that financial independence there.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much, Alex. You have to come back on again soon, and we'll do another Facebook Live. And have a wonderful day, everyone. And thank you for joining us. Bye now.
Thanks, Bridget. Bye.
Bye.